Florida is going to become expensive and you won't be able to buy in. Mm-hmm. Think about it. So if it's someone like me, we come in, I can buy what? For how much?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even ask the question. Yeah. How much? I'll pay for it 100%. I don't give a shit. And that's the attitude coming in from the north to the south, where it's like, we're bringing up the value of this whole area because we're such used to like astronomical amount of prices, and we're willing to pay for whatever because the value is so good. But we are going to destroy that market 1,000%. We'll destroy that market.
In time.
It's already happening. Yeah. Because if you look at even the house that I bought, I think it was like $400K less at some USD at some point, right? Yeah, wow. That same house, it maybe even less, maybe 500. Wow. So, but I said, what? How much? Cash. Hey, it's Steve Zalunardo here with Remax West Zalunardo Associates. We're with Mike Gatti. We're just having a quick chat with Chris on the hot topics in the market. So Chris, take it away. What do we got?
Remember last time that we spoke, we were talking about Alberta is calling in the campaign? Mm-hmm. Well, have you guys seen the recent article that came out of a person who actually moved from Toronto to Alberta and now they moved back because they didn't like it over there?
I think Alberta is going to be very like personality based too. Like obviously in the article we're talking about a type of person that is used to the Toronto nightlife and living in Toronto, so I feel like it's a different vibe. You're not going to get that big city feel in Alberta, right? So you can't, like, yeah, you're saving that, she's saving that money on that purchase of the house, and you're sacrificing your choice of lifestyle essentially. If it's a burden for you to change your lifestyle. Some people it's a perfect fit, right? And for them I think it'll be good. But for the person that's used to the Toronto nightlife, it might not be good.
Yeah. After reading that article, it's like, you know, all her likes and everything she wanted to do, we could have saved her the time and money because it would never work for her. I mean, she's downsizing like a big city life into like that's like moving like an hour and a half north. Like, forget about Barrie. We're talking like the outer skirts. Yeah, like just like a one, you know. And again, I've never been there either, but there is a lot of these calling for Alberta and Edmonton. Everyone's starting to push there, but you know, I don't see it. I got to be honest.
Even from the investment standpoint, like I know there's a lot of people like they're offering like 2-year rent guarantees, which I'm sure will be great. It's just I think they need the supply and influx of population growth, which they are getting right now. It's just I don't know. It's like the pandemic. Everyone flocked to the outskirts of the city. Yeah. How long is Calgary going to last, right? And with all this infrastructure that they're building, which hopefully I'm sure it'll work out, but I wouldn't be.
I think they had something going because of the affordability here in Toronto. Yeah. So families were forced. Even at one point I did a video. It's like, yeah, if you can't afford to live in Toronto, you might as well move out. Why not? You start your life, you get a lower mortgage, you can assimilate. Obviously the weather's horrific and this whole thing to it, but if you're okay with winters and you're going to get a much calmer lifestyle, more up and coming area, and it costs you less to do it, then why not? But as the market's coming down, like that attraction to go that way is going to end very quickly. So all that infrastructure might be for a waste, to be honest, unless the new wave of immigration, the government actually points them that way. I don't think so. I think even if immigrants were to land in Edmonton or whatever, or they're forced to go there, they might stay a year and just obviously populate too. Because if you want to be somewhere in Canada, you want to be in South Ontario for sure, or Southern Ontario. Yeah. It just makes sense, right, financially. Where do you go? Do you go to Quebec, Montreal for the beauty? But ultimately the financial hub is here. You want to be here. I think so that can roll up at another thing too, like for the costs associated with moving to Edmonton, do you use that money and you move to Florida rather?
That's another thing, right? You can buy the same type of purchasing power that you have in Calgary or Edmonton and bring that to Florida, especially Southwest Florida, and you're getting the same size house, but you're getting a better quality of life. Yeah. You're getting obviously the weather, but on top of that you're getting gated communities with amenities and a bunch of other factors that are enhancing your life, not taking away from what you're used to, right?
100%. And now like living in both sides, to be honest. So we were there, we did a 2-month stint in Southwest Florida. We're living in North Fort Myers on our investment property now. And obviously my family's down there, wife, kids, so it's home right now. And quality, if you weigh it for between how we live here in Canada as you do there in Southwest Florida specifically, it's way different. quality of life is 10 times better. I can't, and I'm not bullshitting. It's not like I'm coming up with some like, it's like, oh, he's making something up. It's I've lived both lives now. And look, for example, last night, we finished, we worked, whatever, then we went home, we ate, and then what do? I told my wife, at the dinner table, it was like 6 p.m. I'm like, what do I do now? Where are we gonna go? I'm not gonna go outside. I'm sensitive with cold. I'd probably get a fever or something.
Yeah, no, I'm the same.
Yeah, right? How many times can you walk the dog? There's no outdoor sports. What are we gonna do now? So it's literally, I went back to work. I ended up doing that deal last night, but it was like, if we were back in Florida, we would have said, okay, would have worked, ate, maybe then bring the kids out for a bike ride, go play pickleball. Even if you go drive to the shopping centers, it's always nice. Like there's activity, there's action, there's people out. It's just, you feel good. And then obviously the weather helps too.
Well,
right?
That definitely helps, right? Going from your car in like -2, -3, and I have 3 kids, getting the kids ready, bundled up, put them in the car seat is different than, okay, let's just bring them outside. You don't have to worry about
Nothing.
they're in shorts and go, right?
T-shirts. It's like so fucking good. Again, so then people might say, well, what do you do in Florida? Do you have employment? If you do, what's going on? And I'm going to read an article that I have, because obviously I'm entrenched with everything happening in Southwest Florida, just because obviously we have a lot of money invested into the state, especially that side of Florida, and also the future, basically, of everything. So look at this. So people say, well, we don't have anything to work. There's nothing to do in Southwest Florida. It's a retiree community. It's secondary property ownership, blah, blah, blah. It's all elder people. So as I've been preaching forever, Southwest Florida has become this new regenerative section of youth, like people my age with families moving into the area, starting up business, bringing in their wealth, buying houses for cash. So there's no stress on finances. So even if there's a downturn in the market, how houses will be held. There's no bullshit. But look at this article, and remember, so it's going to be Collier County to Lee County, which is basically Southwest Florida from Naples, let's say up to Fort Myers, so a very linear strip, like 900,000 people, 1 million people. Job growth year over year. In November, they talked specifically, so I'll read the article. Southwest Florida labor force increased by 18,732 people over the last year, according to November figures from Florida Department of Economic Opportunity. The Fort Myers area labor force in November grew by 13,140. So Fort Myers, they're going to bundle Bonita Springs, Estero, but it's basically Lee County, and that grew by 13,000 new new jobs created in that section. So 13,000 new jobs in that small section. You know how small it is. It's like
it's maybe like
20 miles off the coast. It just hugs the coastline, and it's a very linear line. So imagine 20,000 new jobs being created
along Highway 27 from like Highway 7 to like Nobleton.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
right?
Yeah, same idea.
Yeah.
Like it's fantastic. And then if you look at the jobs that are growing, like the Fort Myers area industry gaining the most jobs over the year was education and health services, with 2,700 jobs. So what that tells you is that obviously people are coming. The lack of teachers because of the people moving in that need teachers to obviously supply classrooms because of the kids. I know for my daughter to get into a grade 6 class, there's no hope. And not just in one school. We're talking like 5 or 6 schools all across Southwest Florida.
Wow.
Even private you couldn't even get into. If I paid $15,000-$20,000 US a year, I still couldn't get her into a grade 6 class. Wow. And their schools are not like our little schools here. They're like campuses. So they're full footballs. Like it's a whole thing. Yeah, it's like 1,500 kids, 2,000 kids. So they might have 6 grade 6 classes.
Not like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that kind of tells you the age group. It's going to be like mid-30s to mid-40s, like that whole influx of like young families moving into the area. And then also there's construction industries booming with jobs too. So anyway, just long story short is that if people really want to move to Florida, if they want to get away from let's say, forget about the weather, but more of the lifestyle, affordability, they'll have an opportunity to make money and also live a better life, quality of life rather.
And another point too, going on that is, I do think there's like a little misconception that people are thinking like how are these people buying with no mortgages? Well, looking where they're coming from, right? Whether they're coming from Toronto, like where you sell, like say you sell your house in Vaughan for 1.5, 1.8 million, you're going to buy a $600,000 American house. Like I'm sure there's you have equity in your house
Yeah,
to do that, right?
Yeah.
And even a lot of these guys that are coming from the States are coming from northern states where their real estate's valued at a much higher amount, where you can go from buying a 1.5 to you can go buy $300,000 American house, and there's no conversion. So that's how they're buying these things in cash.
You're right.
Even on top of that, like investment wise, right? Like for them, like if you're coming from New York, I'm sure you got $1 million in equity.
100%.
Split that into two, like.
Yeah, you buy your house in
You got
cash.
two in cash.
And even if you see like the people moving in, they're paying cash. I can see mortgages now, like on everyone's house. Is weird. I mean, that's
different.
Yeah. So you can't. So don't tell people you paid cash, because your realtor could find out in the U.S. but if you look at it, they're enjoying life. So they're paying their house in cash. They're retiring young. They're getting like golf carts. They're like every adult male especially in North Fort Myers looks like they're living they're like huge. They're like elder adolescent children, honestly, because they're like on electric scooters. They got their golf carts. Everyone's got like a Corvette now. Everyone's kind of like starting to put their life into perspective and starting to enjoy it. But even going back to the northern states and stuff like that, how people are coming in. Reality is Florida is going to become expensive and you won't be able to buy in. Mm-hmm. You think about it. So if it's someone like me, we come in and I can buy what? For how much?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even ask the question. Yeah. How much? I'll pay for it 100%. I don't give a shit. And that's the attitude coming in from the north to the south, where it's like we're bringing up the value of this whole area because we're such used to like astronomical amount of prices, and we're willing to pay for whatever. Because the value is so good, but we are going to destroy that market 1,000%. We'll destroy that market.
In time.
It's already happening.
Yeah.
Because if you look at even the house that I bought, I think it was like $400K less at some USD at some point, right? Yeah, wow. That same house, it maybe even less, maybe 500.
Wow.
So, but I said, what? How much? Cash.
Well,
yeah,
it's relevant to like what we're selling our real estate here and going down there for, right?
Well, even like the house, the house we're building is 4,800 square feet. It's almost 5,000 square feet. It's on a court on a half acre in probably going to be one of the best communities being built in that whole section of Estero, and again another up and coming community, because it's not Naples. Naples obviously is a different story, but off of Alico, all those. Like high-end development stuff like that, like Corkscrew is going to be that. Because now if you talk to people and you tell them you live at certain like gated communities like we're moving into, they already like associate you with actually doing well financially. So it's one of those deals. But we're going to ruin that market because it's that trend. And so what I'm telling even clients now and friends, like, you guys got to buy in. There's no sales bullshit, guys. Like, you got to buy in. You got to make sure you own a piece of that real estate, because even if you bought something very small for like a townhouse or a small detached, let's say in North Fort Myers or my investment properties, you can hold on to that, lease it out, and you can always trade up. You know what I mean? You've locked in a commodity to trade other commodities in the area
at the low price.
Yeah. Because let's just say, my bungalow now, the one or the single story as they call it in Fort Myers, North Fort Myers. If you paid $380 for it, if that thing's, and that's USD, so it's like 500 Canadian, just a shy of it. Let's say that thing's 500-600 USD. There's not many people are going to buy that after. Like, can afford to come from Canada to do that. Yeah. But now it's that threshold where they can buy something and feel good about it, that they bought an amazing product. And let's just say that thing does go up to 600K in the future, because if there's a lack of inventory and a huge demand, the prices are gonna.
Well, look at their population growth, 1% per year, right?
It's fucking it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 100%. Like even looking, like we were talking the other day, like I have 3 children. If I sold our house here, I can go divide that into 4. In 25 years, I'm handing my kid a house.
Yeah.
Right? So it's even that lifestyle. Then they're making decisions not to survive. They're making decisions, how do I grow? Because they don't have that burden of a mortgage. So that's the opportunity, like we talk about, for our kids.
100%.
That is over and above the weather and pricing from an investment standpoint.
For sure.
Yeah.
We chatted about it yesterday. So your children now, like, so the house we just bought now, we're gonna buy Nicholas one too. Then when Selena's 25 years old, you hand them the keys to a property, and it's just like, so it's all cash. You don't gotta worry about it. Now you can. So you're going to be able to work at something you want to do, not forced to work in order to pay bills, like a rat race.
Yeah.
So it's almost like starting them up on the right foot. It's like all we can do as a parents is to give them a better opportunity at life, and also better the next generation, which that's our job. As human beings, we're supposed to better the next generation. So how are we doing that as parents today living in, let's say, Toronto?
We're like almost treading water, right? Like,
yeah.
Like I know I've said it before, even to my family. It's like, personally, I want to help my kids. Like I want to give them whatever I can. Now, if I'm not able to help my kids, like I have to almost start today. If I don't start today in 25 years, like they're not gonna have anything, right? If they have to go on their own in 25 years or 20 years and go purchase something, like what's the price of real estate in Toronto? Like how far? I probably can't even pronounce the name of the town my kid's gonna live in because like, it's so far away, right? Like we probably don't even talk about these places. Yeah. So that's, or they're gonna be renters, and you're always gonna be in that rat race. Right?
Probably more likely renters.
100%.
Because they're gonna want to stay near family and this whole thing.
Or live with me, which. Okay, it's fine, but I kind of want them to like go. You need to grow yourself, right? So,
unless they move to Edmonton.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
It's a cheaper flight to go to Florida than to Edmonton.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And it's shorter distance, right? I would imagine. I don't even know what the distance is. I don't know nothing about the province of Canada. Is that crazy?
Well, I know. I looked up to go to Vancouver. It's like $850.
Yeah, it's wild.
Like,
and that's
just
what's the flight? The flight's like 6 hours. That's a long flight. No, that's on the other side.
I know, like it's crazy. I know. Okay, I guess it's further, but like it's more expensive to fly anywhere in the country than to go.
It's wild,
to like Florida in general, right?
That doesn't make sense. And also, when you're in the U.S., you can fly from one state to another quite quickly and cost efficiently. It's almost like Europe. You can jump planes, 60 euros, 100 euros. You can go to fucking.
And it's like common to do business. Like jump on a plane. I got a meeting at 10. I jump on a plane at 8, and I'll be there for 10. Come back that night.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful? Like even for investment sakes in the U.S., if you were stationed down in Southwest Florida, like we can be anywhere. We could be in the Midwest, a couple hours. You can do business down there. Because I know in Ohio, there's just a little bit of a frenzy there. You can do some good investments for cheap, right? Mm. Like a block of townhouses for like 50, 60,000 a unit. Like, what do you do? You buy a block. When people say, wow, you're so far away, like how are you going to manage it? I don't even manage my properties here, and they're like 20 minutes away. It's all, everything's done through a phone and you make a call.
Or an email,
Yeah. Awesome, guys. If you enjoyed these videos, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll get you to the next one.